time. It's our time, my friends. Time for millions of maturepreneurs, 55 plus, who are hashtag not done by a long shot, to revolutionize how we lead, do business, and innovate our world. I'm your host, Jeanette Anderson, and welcome to my conversations with fascinating people who would rather inspire than retire. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this bodacious episode of the Maturepreneur podcast. I am your hostess, Jeanette Anderson, and today I have with me Milan Schwarzkopf, and we're going to get into an interesting topic about things we love to talk about here, the 4 things that you need to prepare for a healthy, wealthy, happy, and fulfilled retirement for those of you that are choosing to retire, and or perhaps a little bit about how this can help and serve you if you are unretiring. So, how to prepare yourself for your future. And today, Milan is here with us from, where are you currently located?
I am currently located in Central Europe, Prague, the Czech Republic.
Okay. So yeah, I knew they'd want to know where that lovely accent was coming from. And it's late there right now, right? It's evening?
Yes, it's 7:40 p.m.
Wow. Congrats on a long day, and thank you for being here. As always, folks, I'm going to tell you about Milan, the official stuff. Then we'll get the juicy, real tidbits from behind the scenes. Then we're going to launch into this topic of really how to prepare yourself in every way for creating that next chapter in your life. So, prepare yourself. There's a lot of initials here. MSc, Milan Schwarzkopf, PhD, MBA, is a purposeful retirement expert, teaching how to best arrange and live through retirement in 4 basic pillars: finance, health, relationships, and life purpose. Milan spent his working years as a senior project manager on complex global projects. He's learned the secret to having an exciting and meaningful retirement is more than just financial security, but it's also about relationships, health, and a new life purpose. He redesigned his own life to reflect the ideal life of his retirement desires, his own third act. This discovery is too important to not share with you. There's no comprehensive book on this topic, so Milan has created his own, based both on extensive study and his own experiences. Milan's created a simple step-by-step plan that you can do too. So, excellent. Can't wait to dive into this. Thank you for being here, Milan.
Thank you for inviting me. It's my honor to be here.
I'm happy to kind of hear about, so tell us the title of your book, first of all.
My book is called Living Your Best Third Act, How to Be Healthy, Wealthy, and Happy in Your Retirement. Don't make the mistakes most people do. Okay. I have also published a course with the same name, which is available through my web pages.
Okay. And you know, whether we call it your third act or your next chapter or your third phase of life or your final phase, whatever you call it, the point is, what's next? Let's figure out what's next and how do we get ready for it in the best way. So tell us a little bit about you that people wouldn't guess. What is something that might surprise us about you that we wouldn't know just from reading your website or maybe even your book? What's something that would surprise people, Milan?
Possibly that besides writing, publishing my book, marketing it, I am actually living my wealthy, healthy, happy, and fulfilled retirement.
Right.
Which I have been, yep.
Well, that's true, but that was actually in your intro that you're living that. So that doesn't count. You got to tell us something else that would surprise people. What's something maybe even your friends don't know? I know, we asked tough questions here.
I am still healthy. I am riding my bike. I am mountaineering. I am cross-country skiing.
Ah, okay. So you're an outdoorsman. You like bike riding and skiing and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Do you go camping a lot?
Several times a year, yes.
Okay, so you're definitely an outdoorsy kind of guy. All right, I wouldn't have guessed that because you're all dapper in your suit and your, PhD and all these letters and so forth. So I wouldn't have thought you'd be that, kind of down to earthish kind of guy.
I have actually came back from a 4 days train trip to Switzerland yesterday.
Oh, nice. That is one of the advantages of Europe is everything is so close and train service is so good. And yeah, you can really get around there. All right. So let's talk about your journey. How did you worked as a project manager most of your life. And when did you retire from your corporate life?
Actually, there were several transitions during my life. The first one was after I graduated an MBA studies from Rochester Institute of Technology. I was to decide what to do next. Mm-hmm. And after some considerations, I decided project management is the right job for me, which can combine my love for computers, IT, managing people, finance, all these disciplines together. Mm-hmm. Then I knew I am not willing to do the climbing the corporate ladder career. Then I calculated what is the tax rate of an employee, which is very high here. And the opposite, the tax rate of a contractor is very low. So I decided to establish both my sole trader and PLC licenses and started to look for big international and global projects with high responsibility, high stress for a limited amount of time.
So when was that? What age bracket were you in when you became a contractor?
During 90s.
The 90s. So how old were you at that point?
That's a good question.
So that would have been 35 years ago?
Mid-age, yes. Late mid-age.
Okay. Is middle age in your 40s? Is that, we're just trying to pin you down here.
Yeah, about 45. Yeah.
Okay. And so then you became a contractor. And how long did you do that for?
Until I retired. And I started to be worrying how it will be in my retirement financially, because I knew that I cannot live from the normal pension here. We have very equal pensions. It nearly doesn't depend on your contribution. You will have similar pension. So I decided to prepare myself financially for retirement. And although I was earning high daily rates, I did not spend that. I have put as much possible aside and started to build my retirement portfolio with the help of an external independent portfolio manager.
Okay, so you hired a financial planner or an expert to help you with your financial management and really maximized your savings because you were smart and realized you were going to probably live another 20, 30, 40 years beyond retirement. So when did you retire? At what age did you retire?
One day I discovered I am serving 4 years longer than necessary. So I have made another calculation how long it pays to overserve. And I decided to retire. So I was actually 68.
68 when you retired. Okay. So you said, okay, I'm going to step back from corporate work. And then what happened? Because then you unretired or started to do this new version of your chapter of life. So tell me what happened at 68. Did you stay retired for a while? Or?
So besides the fact I was financially secure, the first task was clear. I must improve my health damaged by high stress from all these projects and learn how to do that, because no doctor will tell you. Doctors are not trained in prevention. They don't have time. They don't have motivation to speak about that with clients. So I started to buy many books on Amazon. I started to watch many webinars from excellent American doctors and presenters. It took me about 2 or 3 years. I have also invested in myself in some genomic sequencing to discover if I have any food intolerances, which I had.
So you invested in what? In genetic testing? Is that what you said?
Genetic sequencing. It is from your blood, OS2, and they can discover if you have any food intolerances.
Okay.
In my case, it was lactose intolerance, so I had to exclude all milk which contains lactose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, dairy.
And some other nutrition changes, which I had done it suddenly, purposefully. Generally, it's said you should try it at least for 3 months and see how you feel.
Right.
In my case, I started to exercise, move, improve my nutrition, and so on. Actually, everything what I am summarizing in the health chapter of my book, and I have really improved my health substantially.
And
I am
so
completely healthy.
were you facing a health crisis? Is that what prompted you to focus on that? Was there something, were you sick, or was it just like, I think I'm, going to live longer, so I better get healthier? Because typically most people don't have the discipline to just suddenly say, okay, I'm going to do this. So what prompted that change in your focus?
Both. I had health issues. I even had, besides the food intolerance, I had some occasional brain fogs. And so on. So, and I learned that many people agree that with the present status of medicine, you can reasonably expect to live until 90, not depending on your genes. So if you retire, for instance, at 65, you have at least 25 years in front of you, and this can be the best part of your life if you prepare for it well and manage it well. This is what I wanted.
Right. Okay. And so tell us, are you married? Was that part of the motivation? Did you have a wife who was saying, I want you to stick around, or or what? What were your circumstances that really fostered that sense of, I really want to take care of myself?
You have actually very well opened another pillar of my preparation, which is relationships.
Yep.
I was 2 times divorced.
Mm-hmm.
My relationships was very bad because of my whole life purpose was my work, and I have neglected nearly all of the relationships I could have neglected.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew, again, I learned from those books and webinars that some basic truths. If you have at least reasonable amount of money in retirement and at least reasonable health, your true satisfaction will come from your relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And this is another art which can be learned. Mm-hmm. So I have again studied many books, watched many webinars, learned how to improve my relationships, both close relationships with my girlfriend, with my sons, distant relationships with friends. I learned one should not close themselves into any social bubbles, speak to people with same and different opinions. Mm-hmm. Again, it all can be learned. It's not that complicated. And I have summarized my knowledge in the relationship chapter of my book and my course, and I succeeded in this as well.
Well, and it's one of the World Health Organization says that being lonely is the equivalent to your health impact of smoking 15 cigarettes a day. It takes 7 years off of our life when we are lonely, when we're isolated, when we don't have good quality connections. So it's really critical that we take to all of our well-being, mental, emotional, physical, to take care of our relationships as well. So your relationship with your girlfriend improved, but you're still not married yet, right?
No, that's not that important.
Okay. And so the next part, and you're right, most people will live, and this is part of the retirement myth, right? That we grew up with this notion that's so 1950s that says, go to school, get a good job, climb the career ladder, get married, have 2.5 kids, at least in North America, that's what they advocate. And, white picket fence, then retire. And that worked when we retired at 65 and died at 70, or at most 75. But what we haven't reset our brain to is that most people who retire are not done. They still have a lot more to contribute. Our 65 now is not what 65 was back in the 50s and 60s. And it's also, like you said, we've got another third of our life to live that we haven't prepared for mentally, financially, in terms of relationships, in terms of what we want. So let's talk about that other pillar of purpose. So why was that so important in your discovery of when you retired at 68? What was going on for you at that time? Did you have any sense of purpose? Or were you, like many people, really, I am my job? So who am I now that I'm not a project manager? Did you go through that identity crisis?
Exactly, I fully agree. This was probably the most complicated transition because I was a project manager. The work was my life purpose for more than 3 decades. And now I realized I don't have to work anymore if I don't want to.
Right.
And what will I do? And while the health and relationships, if you read some books, you discover these are pretty completely described disciplines which can be handed over within one chapter, which I did. Finding a new life purpose is very open. There is no generally agreed methodology. They are different approaches from different authors. So I have tried to create my own methodology, how to discover your new life purpose, not based on work anymore. You can see many people in retirement find at least part of their purpose in helping others, handing over their experience, their knowledge. And this is part of my new life purpose as well. Because after several years, I discovered my knowledge about retirement preparation is so complex that it's not described anywhere else. So I decided to publish a book and publish a course to help anybody who wants to prepare for their retirement.
So when did you start that process? You retired at 68, and then you did a lot of learning and immersing yourself in your health journey. When did you decide to start supporting others in their journey?
It came gradually. I spent about more than 3 years in studying all the literature. I have more than 170 citations in my book. And then I actually first decided to write a course. And when it was nearly done, I was looking for the first customers. And I have met a man from US who persuaded me to write a book first and hire him as a book writing and marketing coach, which I did. He was excellent, and after several months of cooperation, the book was done. I have published the book in March last year, and it became Amazon #1 bestseller in July last year.
Awesome. Congratulations. Especially as a non-compilation book. It's tough to become an Amazon bestseller if you're a solo author. So congratulations. That's not a small feat. Tell me, and I don't want to step over the fact that you hired support because I really want to come back to that. But so you spent a few years kind of, we'll call it finding yourself and learning and growing. And what I really want to point out here is I believe there's a direct correlation to having a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. And you can tell from Milan's numerous degrees and his approach to figuring out, okay, what's next, which was to learn and educate himself and watch, videos and webinars and learn from people and read books. He's very much got a growth mindset. You very much have a growth mindset. And that's really served you. Do you know, in terms of any of your research observations, what have you noticed about the difference between those who retire who have a growth mindset versus those who have that more fixed mindset of you can't teach an old dog new tricks? Did you kind of cover any of that in your book? Have you researched any of that? Has that come up at all?
No concrete research. Of course, if you have a growth mindset, it's a big advantage, but I don't think a fixed mindset is fixed. Anyone who wants can learn, can read, can watch a course, can educate themselves. And please let me reiterate, we are speaking about at least 25 years of your life, which can be best part of your life. So it's worth it. It's worth the preparation, education. We have all been automatically learning ourselves, improving our qualification during the first 25 years of our life. Mm-hmm. Then we spent our, how I call it, the second act, by working, increasing our qualification, establishing families, raising children, and so on. Now you have another 25 years in front of you with actually no remaining high responsibility for anyone. So you can really enjoy what you have been working for if you prepare for it well and manage it well. This is what I am trying to teach people.
That's true. Although I want to challenge you on the no responsibility, because there are lots and lots, especially women, it tends to fall most to, of caregivers and the requirement for caregiving. Our parents, often sandwich generation, caregiving for parents, and now caregiving for older children that are still living at home, is fairly common. And that's something that people also don't factor into their latter, third of their life, is that they're very likely going to be caregiving for someone, a partner, a spouse, a parent, perhaps your children. And that needs financial planning, relationship planning, all of the components added to that aspect of our life. Many of us have a lot more freedom, for sure. But for some, that's a big consideration that needs to be planned for as well. I was just talking to a lady the other day who is caring for her mom, and she basically said, and it was my experience as well, that she didn't plan for a quarter of her time to be spent taking care of this person. And as a self-employed person, that was my experience as well. A quarter of my time that was going to go into my business had to go into my mom, or I chose to put into my mom. That created an economic impact, and really that I didn't see coming. Should have, but didn't see coming. So factor that in, everybody. Okay, now, tell us a little bit more about, when did you publish your book? How old were you when you published your book? Because I want to let people know that it's never too late to become an author or a speaker or whatever you want to be. So when were you when you published your book?
March last year.
Okay. And so how old were you then?
69.
69. Okay. So you just turned 70, or you're going to turn 70. So congratulations. And how long did it take you to write your book, even though you called in support? How long was that process from when you got the idea to when it was published?
As I said, I first prepared my course, then I converted that to the book. And writing a book, in my view, takes at least 1 year. Okay. I was not using AI at all. I was writing everything myself. And if you include all the work which must be done, hiring a line editor, hiring a graphic editor, converting it to Amazon format so it can be published, all these are not simple tasks. So I don't believe you can write your book much sooner than in 1 year.
That's generally been my experience too. It typically takes about that if you've got help, if you've got a writing coach, and if you've got people who know how to help you navigate through getting your ISBN number and various things like that. Otherwise, the learning curve is quite a bit bigger. And there really isn't much point in becoming, trying to learn how to become a publisher and a distributor and all of those things. It really is one of those things that's much easier to hire, because it's a whole area of expertise, how to get a book done and out. So definitely factor in and plan for that time, but also plan for that money. Because it can be anywhere from $10,000 to $50,000 to get a book done and published and out, depending on how you do it, who you go through. But usually $10K is on the lower side in terms of getting cover design and editors and all of the rest of that. So you got to plan for that as well. And
I have spent much less because I was able to do many technical tasks for myself.
Right.
And second, prices for graphic editor are much lower here.
Okay. So good. Okay. In some cases, it would be less. And I do know people who've done it for like 5K, but many of them have have experience with publishing books. So they do more of a hybrid approach. And it definitely depends on where you're hiring people from too, as because some things are much cheaper offshore, off North American shore. So tell us why. Why are you doing this work? Why do you care so much about people learning about these 4 pillars and putting them in place?
Because I can see too many people around me who miss this great opportunity to make the last 25 years the best part of their life.
Right.
If you don't plan for it, it can be a disaster. It's really a big missed opportunity. And I want to help people. I want to hand over both my knowledge and my experience.
Right. And that's important for you also in terms of your purpose and your meaning. Like you want to matter, right? You want to make a difference. And I think that's important for all of us, is really recognizing that we still have relevance, we still have value, and we want to share that so that we get that we matter and we are still contributing and making a difference. So tell us kind of what your view of your future is. What do you see going forward? So you're 70 or almost 70. How long do you think you'll be doing this? What kind of work do you see yourself doing in the future, if any? What's your future look like for you?
Besides enjoying my wealthy, healthy, and happy retirement, I want to support as many people as possible. So continue selling my course, my book, my personal coaching. If everyone wants to get a personalized retirement preparation plan done with you in 3 months, I am offering this as well.
Okay. So part of what's kind of amusing about this is the word retirement doesn't mean what it used to mean, because you say, I want to enjoy my healthy, wealthy retirement, but you have a business, you published a book, you have created courses, you're doing coaching, you're selling your services. Most people would say you're not retired, dude. Most people would say you're working, even though it may not be full-time, or it may not even feel like work sometimes. But retirement, generally, the definition is you're not working. So how long do you plan to be semi-retired? Let's put it that way. How long do you think you're going to work?
As long as possible, at least for 2 reasons. I was never able in my life to be bored. I always wanted to do something.
Yeah.
And second, according to the latest advancement in medicine, in the past we were told that our brain develops until 25, maybe 30. That's not true anymore.
No.
You can learn anything you want in any age based on one assumption, if you want. And actually the brain loves it very much. If you employ your brain, if you keep it active, it not only likes it, it's probably also a prevention of many diseases like Alzheimer and so on.
Yes, absolutely.
So it's helping myself as well. And I can confirm it's very healthy to keep brain in motion.
Yeah, absolutely. It keeps us vital when we're engaged with people, when we're engaged with something we care about, when we're passionate and active every way, mentally and physically. And so you're living proof of that. So, and I hear this more and more from people. And I hope if you're listening to this, that you hear this as encouragement, not as a should. There is no should about when we should or shouldn't retire, whether or not you want to be retired full-time. Great, rock on with your fine self if you can do that. If you want to stay employed full-time, great, rock on with your fine self and do that. It's about us deciding what's best for us. So I really want to encourage you to take a look at, like Milan is suggesting, what do you want the next 20, 30, 40 years? And for some of you, even more. Many of us are living to 100. That's not unusual these days. And statistically, there are various different predictions, but statistically, the last one I heard that was credible was that people being born now will live to 130. So we really need to define. So that means 60 is middle-aged. So we really need to take a look at how are we going to create the quality of our life. And so I think that's why your work is so valuable, is to have us be really conscious about who do I want to be? What do I want to do? And what do I want to have going forward? It's incredibly important work. And it's part of why I created the Clarity Compass workshop, which, ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you about really quickly, and then we're going to get back to Milan and his gifts for you, is a workshop for those of you who are clarifying your vision. What do you want the next chapter to look like, the next third of your life? And then what is your purpose within that? Because as Milan said, we really need to know who we are if we are not our roles. Who are we now? What is our purpose in life? And because otherwise we just kind of cast about and go, why am I here? What am I going to fill my days with? Why do I matter anymore? And human beings need meaning. We need to matter. And then the third part of it is, and how are you going to live into that? How are you going to monetize it? Because most of us, 65% of North America, and that's typically very similar around the world, need to earn income. And of the 35% who don't, who hold a bunch of the wealth, they are choosing not to retire. So really, the majority of us are choosing not to. But it can look your way. It can be part-time. It can be full-time. It can be a side hustle. It can be consulting. It can be coaching. It can be a bunch of different things where you get to add your expertise, care about what you care about, and support the people you want to support, whoever that may be. So you're a great example of that, Milan. So tell us just a little bit about, for you personally, in your heart and soul, what has doing this work done for you? What have you noticed is different about who you are now versus who you were in your career, just based on the work that you're doing now?
Some comments to what you have said. I have nothing against working as long as anyone wants, if they can, if they want, and not because they must, or because they don't know what else they would do. So it's back again to the life purpose in this third act. So it helped me also as well, besides improving my health and relationships. I went myself from the process of redefining my life purpose. So I am actually teaching what I have lived through myself.
Yeah. And so what
it was not an easy task. It was a very complicated transformation. And especially this part of the retirement transformation, in my view, is best done with external help, good coach, mentor.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I talk about our why a bit differently than most people, or our purpose. And I think it's a thread that weaves throughout our entire life, and we just live into it in different ways or express it in different ways. And one of my favorite things in the world, like you, is to really encourage and support people in articulating and defining their purpose so they can live into it practically. They can use it to guide their decisions. They can use it to help them decide what kind of life they want to live. They can use it in your marketing very practically to differentiate you in the market and to let people know who you are. There's so many practical reasons for knowing your purpose. And it's not airy-fairy, fluffy stuff. It's really important. And you know, I'm not sure if you're kind of picking this up, but Milan obviously is a very academically accomplished project manager, IT person, very logical, left brain, and his primary concern is things like quality of relationships, having purpose in life, a lot of what we would call those internal things. Yes, practical things like taking care of finances and taking care of health, but a lot of this that I feel and see, Milan, is this passion that you have for living life fully. And that's something that people might not guess, knowing you as being so academic and logical and a project manager and probably fairly consistent throughout your entire life to now have this passion that is so heart-based. Might surprise some people, but I think it looks very good on you, my friend, and I think it's really important in our world. So tell people about the gifts that you have. You've got a complimentary session with you and an assessment. So tell them a bit about that.
So anyone who wants can get a free retirement preparation assessment, which takes about 10 minutes. And you will get the feedback based on your answers. And the first listeners can order a call with me, where we will, within 30 minutes, reveal the 3 most important steps you should do for your retirement preparation now.
Mm-hmm. Good. Okay. So really practical, and get some support with where to focus. And where can people find your book? Is it on Amazon.com and .ca, or is it, where can they find, should they go to your website?
Everything is available through my website, www.thirdactresources.com. You can find the course, the book, the retirement preparation quiz. You can order a 30-minute free call with me, or you can go for the book directly on Amazon.
Okay. So tell us your website again, because I think I've got a different one.
Third Act Resources.
Okay. Thirdactresources.com, and third spelled out THRIRD, Act Resources with an S.com. And so you can go there to schedule that meeting, and you can also go there to take the assessment of your readiness score, and whether you're going to retire or not, knowing where you're at with things will give you something to push off of, so that you can decide, what are the gaps I need to fill so that I can be happy going forward into this third act. And then get some support. If people are offering you support, say yes. Because you never know what you're going to learn from someone, and you're never going to know, you don't know who the right person is to help you until you talk to some people and see, where do you resonate with? Is that your person? And Milan, you mentioned a couple of times that you've hired coaches, you've gotten support with various stages along the way. Tell people just a little bit what you would advise around getting support, because many people from our generation tend to be fairly independent. We grew up with lots of community, but we tend to have this thing that I should do it myself. So how was it for you calling in support, and what do you recommend to people as far as getting support?
My first advice, even before searching for support, would be realize the importance of the retirement preparation topic. It is not urgent, but it is very important. In my view, financial preparation for retirement takes at least 15 to 20 years. So my advice would be, as soon as you can afford to put some money aside in your mid or late mid-age, do so, and invest them with external professional help, independent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For health and relationships, they can be improved anytime. It's never too late. Again, the sooner you start, the smaller steps are needed. Consistency is needed in any pillar, anyhow. But again, the sooner you start taking care of your health and your relationships, which basically you can learn the basics through my book and the course. If you do so, you will be, I guess, still more advanced than 90% of the population.
Right.
And especially for finding the new, you can always refine your life purpose, or find a new life purpose for retirement. And this is best done with some external help. Yeah. Although I am offering many accompanying documents for readers of my book and listeners of my course, many checklists, many templates, especially this chapter is best done with an external expert help.
Yeah, I often say it's really hard to see what's right on the end of our nose. It really helps to have someone who can kind of pull our hand back, and so we can see more clearly what's so big and important to us. So get someone to help you with pulling that hand back. And on that note, I wasn't going to offer this, but I will because we've been talking about it so much. I stopped offering complimentary What's My Why sessions. One of my titles is The Why Whisperer. But I think it is so important, as Milan has pointed out, that we get different perspectives on that so that you get input and you start to really feel into and discover what fits for you. And so we'll put a link in here as well in the show notes for you to book a complimentary What's My Why session with me, and also take Milan up on his offer and hear different approaches to this, because one will resonate for one person and one will resonate for the other. We want you to find your path to purpose, to happiness, to well-being. So we'll put both of those into the show notes, but also in the vault, we've changed this a bit up, and you probably have heard it on some of the other podcasts, but if this is your first time, instead of just putting the links in the show notes, what we do is we have the vault. You go opt into that, and not only can you then get Milan's gifts from today, but you can see all of the other speakers on different podcasts and their gifts. So it's like having a 24/7 giveaway where you can go and get all sorts of goodies that help you with whatever it is, even if you haven't listened to their episode. And it might be someone that's of interest, and so you can go listen to their episode. That way you can go in and get tons of value all at the same time. Our guests get to be in front of you more long term, and we get to have you on our list as well. So please do go and get those free gifts in the vault, as well as the others that are of help to you. We want to make sure you've got lots of resources, but, and there's a but with this, don't just download them and put them in a folder on your computer. Do the work, do the assessment, book the call, take the action. We don't have time to piss around, ladies and gentlemen. So pitter patter, let's get at her. It's time for you to create your next third act. So on that note, Milan, what's one last thought you'd like to leave everyone with?
Can I use some quotations?
Sure, of course.
Sam Levinson: you must learn from the mistakes of others. You can't possibly live long enough to make them all yourself. Richard Bach: you are never given a dream without also being given the power to make it true. Bill Gates: people overestimate what they can do in a year, but tend to underestimate what they can achieve in 10 years. And finally, Michael J. Kamei: those who do not think about the future cannot have one.
Great thoughts, great food for thought, and great quotes. And I love that last one. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for staying up later and joining us. Appreciate you. And I appreciate your passion, your very gentle nudge and call to people to start thinking and preparing. And ladies and gentlemen, you might have heard him say, start putting money away midlife. If you didn't, like I didn't, because I was busy building a business and taking care of my mom, it's still not too late. There are still options. You're not screwed. So get the book anyways. Start where you are. You know, that old quote of, what's the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago. What's the second best time? Today. So get his book, start your preparation today for a happy future, because if you don't plan it, you don't have one. Thank you for listening. Please share this episode and subscribe. We appreciate you, and blessings on your week. Bye for now. Thank you for listening. I'd love it if you left a comment and subscribed. And I encourage you to apply one aha from this interview right away, so you can turn your wisdom into wealth and your contribution into positive change. Bye for now.